But yeah, I was a high school dropout, so I was always constantly getting into trouble and that kind of stuff. And just by pure coincidence, a friend of mine was studying graphic design, and one of his subjects was photography. So, I'm a petrol head, always on motorcycles, race cars, and that kind of crap. So he came to the racetrack because I think his project was speed. He had to photograph speed, so he came to photograph the motorcycles and the race cars and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I think I could do that. And I took my first pictures with his camera. And from that moment on, I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then it all coincided with the end of apartheid in South Africa, with the violent end to apartheid. It was pretty bloody violent. There were 20,000 people killed in the space of 4 years, and that's a lot of people given there. There was no tanks, no artillery, no planes. It was all just close quarters. Some small arms, but a lot of it was like spears and machetes, and it was pretty tribal and bloody. And so that was it. It was happening right there on my doorstep, and I could cover history as it unfolded. And I found my niche. I knew exactly what my calling was. I knew exactly that this is what I'd been born for. Before I started walking, I used to have phantom pain all the time. But it hurts. It's not a matter of itching. It's actual pain. It's a pain that you project to locations where you once had an ankle or you once had a toe, but it's real pain. You feel it as pain. It hurts. I'm not sure. I've spoken to some of the Vietnam vets who hang out at Walter Reed, and even one of the guys was a Korean War veteran. Tom was a wonderful man, and he was a Korean War veteran, Marine, lost both legs. And to this day, on occasion, he still gets phantom pain. But I've been lucky since, and I say it since I'm up. When I was in hospital for a long time. I was in hospital for a total of 9 months. But I have pain all the time. Pain is constant. I live with pain on a day-to-day basis. By the end of the night, by the time because I usually shower at the end of the day, and I'm usually in pain. That's a time when I'm usually popping drugs. I'm pretty strong. I've always been mentally strong. But I'm also only human, so there's good days and there's bad days. There's times that I get really depressed, and that I feel that the will to live kind of it wanes. It doesn't go away, but it wanes. And the other thing is being around wounded warriors. You always see somebody who's more wounded than you. As a young kid, you have so many more. Will I ever, to be crude, will I ever get laid again? All that kind of crap. And then in some instances, these kids, they come out, they wake up, their limbs are missing. The young wife with her little baby hanging off the eaves, she's 20 years old, and she can't imagine a life where for the next 40 or 50 years, she's got something that's going to be totally dependent on her. Everybody who comes around to visit makes a difference. The firemen, friends, family. It's going to be difficult to do that, because there are limitations to the prosthetics. So we'll see when the time comes. I think like Egypt, for instance, when the uprising was happening, people were throwing stones. I think that would be okay to do with prosthetics. Even Libya in the beginning, before it became, when it was wide open areas, highways, things dropping, exploding, I think totally doable. But there are limitations. Most importantly, I get to see my kids get old and walk my daughter down the aisle one day and all that kind of good stuff.